Welcome back to another educational lecture. My care activist, Matthew McKenzie. Um, and as of the time of this video, the mental health bill, or the revamp of it, really, of the Mental Health Act 1983 is being changed and being brought to discussion. This November, I believe, 2024. There's loads of great things about the bill, and I agree it's definitely should be revamped. I'm not a super expert on the thing, and I've never been involved in it, but it has been one of the themes of discussions at quite a few of the care groups that I run, and I basically run carer groups for those who are caring for someone with mental ill health. So I thought this was going to be the next sort of lecture, really, on one of the things that often comes up in the discussion. And one of the recommendations, and there are many recommendations for the Mental Health Bill 2024, possibly 2025, it might be passed, I don't know. But there are many recommendations. One obviously is to focus on improvement outcomes for minority mental health patients. There's probably over 100. The other one was on the complexities when it comes to care involvement in someone's mental health. And there were problems, definitely, no doubt about that. So one of the recommendations was to include a new characteristic being nominated persons. So this lecture really looks into the advantages of each person's role. And there will be challenges, but we're not going to be looking at that today. So what is the with my cursor, what is the focus regarding the mental health bill? Why was it revamped? It was outdated. Not only was it outdated, there was just far too many situations where the bill or the act, sorry, was used as some form of coercion. Too many people being sectioned, too many being medicalized, too many on treatment orders, um, too many discriminated against just because they develop mental ill health. And it's just to bring this up to a modernized for better support for patients and treat them more humanely and address the disparities. The reforms will introduce statutory care and treatment plans, end of use of prisons, so police and prison cells to place people experiencing mental health crisis, and an end to inappropriate detention of autistic people, and you could see neurodivergent people and people with learning disabilities, and greater involvement of patients, families, and carers will improve treatment while protecting patients and staff and the wider public. So those are just brief focuses as why and the I don't know the word for it, but what the outcome would hopefully be once this bill's revamped. As I've mentioned earlier, um, with the new characteristics of the nominated persons, what is the differences? What is the benefits of each? So let's have a look. Really, the roles of the nearest person, nominated person, under this Mental Health Act, serves as important functions in supporting individuals with mental health conditions. Now, it's always used to fall on the nearest relative, but that wasn't always the best idea. Mainly because they might not, well, one, they might be suitable, to be honest. They might not be interested. There might be a situation where it puts the patient at risk. I've gotten the word for that now. But moving on, each role regarding nearest relative and nominated person, each role has its distinct benefits enhancing the rights and care of those affected by mental health issues. So we're going to look at the benefits of each role. So we'll start with the nearest relative, to be honest. And the thing regarding the nearest relative, and I'm talking about obviously relative, that being a family, I would think it would fall on the legal representation, what long-standing law in regards to the person's rights. And nearest relatives have specific legal rights under the Mental Health Act, including the right to be notified if their loved one is detained. So this is very important because before, I don't doubt it, there's been situations where families are not notified, they've not been that involved, something's happened, and they're just really trying to find out what's going on. And the reason why this is so important, this is probably related to a few examples. I could give you a clear example. Someone that's at self-harm, suicide risk, goes missing, and you don't know what's happened. There's been some very, I don't know the word for it, high-profile cases where someone has gone missing, probably from a ward, an inpatient ward, and the carers trying to work out, nearest relatives trying to work out where are they, and because of confidentiality, they're not being told. So you can imagine the strain, anxiety, and desperation of some families who don't really know if their loved one's taken their life. But if someone's been detained and they're told about that, then that really eases. I'm not saying it's a perfect situation, but it eases the anxiety. But there has been strains on this rule, on this act. Someone's not told because of confidentiality, so they don't know what's going on. And then they start looking around and yeah, but the benefits anyway is the nearest relatives have specific legal rights under Mental Health Act, including the right to be notified if the individual is detained. And so just to mention the impact regarding legal representations to ensure that person's rights are upheld. So it's really important, at least someone will query it. I'm talking about the nearest relative. They will query the rights of their loved one. Going on, the benefit on involvement in decision making. Now, as a close family member, the nearest relative is often well positioned to advocate for the individual's treatment preferences and wishes. And I would sort of think it's because they've known them at least a long time. Um, I'm aware that family relations are complex, so that's not always the case. But at least that they can advocate to enhance patient care and ensure that treatment aligns with the person's values and wishes. I'm not saying this is always going to be the case, but that was the point of benefit regarding nearest relatives. We also got the point of advocacy regarding treatment preferences. The nearest relative can be involved in discussions about the individual's care and treatment preferences. So, just as it said, they'll advocate for their loved one, really. This is not always the case, though. Sometimes this can be a risk regarding that. Benefit on emergency support. In a crisis situation, the nearest relative can act quickly, really, especially if they're the ones drafting up the emergency list. And they can act quickly to advocate for their loved one's needs and preferences. So their presence can help ensure the appropriate and timely response, timely interventions that are implemented, really. They'll push for it. Continuity of care. The nearest relatives can provide continuity of care. I mean, this is usually the situation anyway. The inpatient wards can't keep someone only in when they're very, very unwell. Can't keep someone 24/7, if you know what I mean. Most situations, the patient will be discharged. Who are they discharged to? Hopefully a close friend, but usually family, and within that structure, probably the nearest relative. So it's continuity of care. I think one of the most important benefit of if you're going for the mental health system, someone's going to be out there looking out for you, trying to support your needs. And this is obviously by maintaining the ongoing relationship with the individual through their treatment journey. Again, this is not always the case, but that's the point of the key word being, the carer. And last but not least, obviously, is benefiting, the benefit of facilitating family communication. So nearest relative can facilitate communication between the patient and other family members, ensuring that everyone is informed about the individual situation. So remember, we're looking at the family structure here. How does the family, how does all family work together in order to support the person's needs? And this means including the person themselves who's using the mental health system. So, as mentioned, a family situation, not all families are going to be the same. They're all different, and they're all complex, to be honest. And it's made even more complex when it's serious chronic mental health. So basically, how does a family unit work together in regards to communication? But as noted, there were problems with this. As again, why should it be on the nearest relatives sort of shoulders to do this? And doesn't the patient get a say in regards to this? And they should, rightly, they should. But then this is one of the advantages if things were in place and the nearest relative agreed and they wanted to do it, then they will make sure communication, or try make sure communication between patient and other family members are included and are informed. So this is not all of it, really. There are other benefits, but these are ones that stick out. If you move on to the new characteristics regarding nominated persons, what's the advantages? And this is something that's going to be, I mean, I'm not sure, but will possibly be placed in the new bill. There might be still some changes, to be honest. The advantages really is on conflict resolution. This is where it comes in with mediation. And to be honest, there can be, this is new, so it's untried and untested as yet, but they can help mediate conflicts between the patient, mental health professionals, and family members regarding treatment decisions. That's the benefit of the patient nominating someone in, to be involved in their care. And one of those tasks of that nominated person is to mediate the conflicts. And people are saying, what do you mean by conflicts? Well, when someone is using the mental health system and they're not happy with their treatment and they're not happy with the decisions made by a nurse relative or family members, then it may fall on the nominated person to resolve conflicts with support, obviously, from the mental health professionals as well. Uh, and also, the next bit is the benefit on patient empowerment. And I think this is really the most important one. I think the idea of the bill being, the act being revamped is a point of patient empowerment, more choices and options for service users, people going for the mental health system, or patients. So the ability to choose the nominated person actually empowers the patient to select someone they trust to advocate for them. And the key word there is just the empowerment, and it's a sense of control over the person's treatment and care. There's also benefit on the personalized advocacy. So the nominated person can actually provide personalized support tailored to the individual's specific needs and preferences. So this can lead to a better alignment of treatment with the patient or individual's goals or values, really. there's a benefit of increased an increased support network, to be honest. So by designing denominated by designating, sorry, a denominated person's individuals can actually expand on the support network beyond immediate family. And now this means when we're talking about nominated persons, it can now be more placed on close friends. I wouldn't just say friends because I don't think that's a good idea for it. Seriously, not with mental health. It's got to be close friends and other trusted individuals. Um, it's a tricky one though. You know, you see, I'm tempted to talk about the challenges. That is another lecture, really. But that's the benefit as well. It doesn't have to be family. And sometimes, before it might not have been family, but the problem is that if a patient chose another someone else to support them, there would be conflict in a sense that by law, the medical team would say, no, we're not sharing that care plan. And may say that you already have someone in that is a carer within the family. And there are other issues as well, but I think this is one of the key and it's a benefit, it's a great goal. But there are challenges in this as well, though. I'm not trying to sell the thing and I'm not trying to not sell it. We're just trying to be realistic on, what this bill is trying to achieve. But it's more choice, but it does come with issues as well. What's the next one? I believe it's representation. So the nominated person, their primary role is to advocate for the patient's preferences and interest, providing focused representation in care discussions. So in regards, to that, I think it's making sure that the patient's wishes are prioritized in that decision making role. So it's representation. Again, with the nominated person, it increases the point of advocacy, but there should be more than just, the nominated person shouldn't be just the only advocate, if you know what I mean, but they have that role. The other one is benefits regarding facilitation of communication. Now, the nominated person can actually help facilitate communication between the patient and mental health professional, ensuring the patient's voice is heard. So it's not always the family member in regards to conflict resolution, but when it comes to the care plan, and it strengthens involvement in that care plan, to be honest, then there is a focus on more communication. And it's all about collaboration, to be honest. And I've jumped ahead a bit, but basically, the person is now entitled, that characteristic is entitled to receive information about the patient's treatment and care, which can aid in advocacy efforts, to be honest. And the big one on this one is that often there might be in a situation because of the nearest relative, if there's a breakdown or safeguarding risk, that's the word really that I tried to remember, safeguarding risk, then obviously they're not due to receive the care plan, especially if the cared for the patient didn't want the nearest relative or family member to be involved. The care plan is just laying dormant. It now relies on the patient. But then if the patient's too unwell, then how would they focus on that care plan? So this is where the nominated person comes in. That's, of course, if it falls back to the nearest relative. There might be situations where the patient wants the nearest relative involved. So, conclusion really is they both have advantages. If someone says, oh, there's no advantages to the nearest relative, so they shouldn't be involved, don't believe them. Um, there are advantages, there are challenges, I agree, there are problems, definitely. But This is a big but. We're looking at the family structure here. You will get that. You will say, "Oh, the family is the problem," and that's been around for history since forms of psychiatry has been around. But it has to be changed as well. There's been issues and problems regarding family structures, and when people threaten, I don't know, and some people say the family is the problem regarding mental illness, it makes my ears bleed, if you know what I mean. So it's important though, nominated persons. This is a great addition. I like it, but I'm not gonna sort of say it's, gonna fix everything because I don't think it will. It will certainly help in quite a few cases. They both have advantages, but they both nearest relative has challenges. Nominated persons definitely have challenges as well. But something's got to change really because the way things stand is just too many failings, too many lack of control for the patient. And I think that's the center of it. Even it might sound weird because most of the time I often focus more on the carer actually. I mean the family, just the carer. So under the new Mental Health Act, this provides significant benefits that enhance support and advocacy available to individuals experiencing mental health challenges. And when you're going through mental health, you're not sure who's there to support you. You're often confused, unwell, and you need that support. And you need it quick. Now, while nearest relatives have the legal rights and responsibilities that can facilitate family involvement in care, the nominated persons offers a more personalized approach that empowers. The keyword here is empower. I should have put that in bold. Empowers patients to choose their advocates. Together, though, this is the key thing because what my worry is that you'll have mental health services choosing between the two and not. The problem, I think, is the involvement aspect. So together, these roles can help ensure that individuals receive appropriate care that respect their rights, preferences, and needs. By recognizing utilizing both roles effectively, mental health services can improve outcomes for patients and their support networks. So I think this is a good thing in some sense. There are some things that make me think, you've got to be careful. But I think it's more choice, more power, and it shouldn't be just always down to the professional. Um, they might have the last say in some cases, though, and I don't think this will be followed to the letter. There might be what I would prefer holistic sort of examination. What we don't want is a patient nominating someone unsuitable, and that can happen because of a breakdown in the family structure. So it's not a hard and fast rule. Just because someone's named, someone nominated, are they suitable? And I'm hoping in a fair number of cases they are. And so that's going to be the tricky bit. But that's another thing for another lecture, though. And sorry if you can hear some background noise. My phone going off. I should have put it to silent. But anyway, I hope this brings some understanding. I really do. Anyway, if you like the video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll try and do more lectures when I can. I'm not always right on something. Sometimes I'm very opinionated. But I'm just shedding light on a few things. I will follow this up to try and explain it more. I guess by the time I explain it, something's already changed because it's up for debate, to be honest. So it's not all sit and roll. And I do think some things will pass, but other things might not. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you again soon.